Good morning, Acadiana. Welcome back into Acadiana's Morning News here on News Talk 96.5, KPEL Talk Radio 960, KROF AM. And Jamie and I both glad to have once again Senator John Kennedy joining us this morning. Senator, how are you today?
I'm great. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Jamie.
Did you get some sleep, Senator, after that long speech they had on the Senate floor the last couple days?
Well, it didn't really impact my sleep. Senator Booker is a friend and colleague. We sit on the Judiciary Committee together, but frankly, nobody paid attention except for the senator and some members of the usual suspects in the media. Yeah. CNN, MSNBC, all that.
So, Senator, one thing I wanted to kind of jump in about, the president and his administration have been pushing this tariff policy quite a bit, and you have a couple times now. You've spoken about it, and you've kind of raised some questions that I think do need to be considered by the administration and by voters. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about your take on this tariff policy agenda that the Trump administration is pushing?
Sure. No one knows the impact, short term, of the tariffs on the American economy. Mm-hmm. I understand where the president's coming from. I support him. His point is that America's the wealthiest country in all of human history. Our people like to buy stuff. So if you're a business in a foreign country and you want to sell stuff to our people, you need to move to America and hire our people. So I get that. And in the long run, he's right. But in the long run, we're dead. The short term matters too. And the truth is we've never had tariffs of this size, at least not in modern history. Mm-hmm. And the economists, even though they pretend otherwise, have no idea what the impact is going to be short term. In Washington, there's no shortage of so-called experts. I've heard economists say that it'll cause the economy to grow. Hope they're right. I've heard other economists say that it will destroy the economy. I've learned that for every economist in Washington, there's an equal and opposite economist, and they're both usually wrong. A lot of these guys who pretend to be experts would make those late-night psychic hotlines look reputable. We're in uncharted waters, and we don't know. It may be great, it may not be great, and the president may have to readjust. So we're going to find out pretty quickly.
It does sound a bit like the old Donald Rumsfeld line about the unknown unknowns, and we're kind of in that territory. We, like you said, we just don't know the short-term impact here. We know the long-term goal and the potential long-term impact, but there's a lot of folks who feel nervous about the short term. I think you're absolutely right on that.
Well, the short term matters. President Trump and most Republicans were elected to try to lower prices. Mm. Now, the way to lower prices is to, number one, cut spending, which we're doing, which removes stimulus from the economy. Number two, get rid of rules and regulations that add to the cost of goods and services. Mm-hmm. And number three, redesign your tax code for growth so that companies will expand and they'll hire more people, and the people that already work there will see pay increases. Wages will go up. Mm-hmm. That will work.
Yeah.
The introduction of tariffs to that recipe, we don't know the impact. It may turn out to taste good, but it may turn out to make the recipe too salty. So, and then in that case, the president's going to have to adjust. Clearly, the market doesn't like the tariffs that much. Now, will the market keep going down, or will it, get this out of its system and stabilize and go back up? We don't know the answer to that either.
Now, you talk about government spending, and I know that you have been really championing a bill the No Dollars for Dictators Act to stop our taxpayer dollars from flowing to places like Russia and China. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, it's really the IMF, they issue special shares of stock every year to the companies that are to the countries that are parts of the organization. Mm-hmm. And America supposedly controls the organization. But a lot of those shares of stock that they issue are to our enemies. Mm-hmm. Iran, China, Russia, Cuba. And since Americans are putting up all of the money, or most of the money, or at least the largest share of the money, why are we issuing shares of stock, if you will, they're called special drawing rights, to countries that hate us? And I'm trying to fix that. I tried it under President Biden, and he just yawned.
As he does.
He and his people just laughed at me, but so I'm going to try it again under President Trump.
Mm-hmm. I think that, again, when we're talking about the things that we can do to really stop, the waste, fraud, and abuse that we see in Washington, D.C., that we know are there, that Elon Musk and Doge have uncovered, I think that being able to target, where our taxpayer dollars is going, that is a huge improvement to what has been the status quo in Washington, D.C. for a very long time. And I know even from your time as state treasurer, you saw that at the state level as well.
No fair-minded person in the universe who has an IQ above his age believes that there is not waste and abuse in the federal budget. I call it spending porn. Mm-hmm. Elon Musk has been the first person to have the oranges to take it on. He's a rock star, in my opinion. He's done more in a few months to reduce spending and to expose the spending porn and the waste that certainly anybody in the last 25 years. And I applaud him. And I applaud the president for standing behind him. In some cases, it's been a little bit messy, but remodeling is messy. Mm-hmm. What you keep your eye on is the end product. And if we can cut, I've watched our budget since 2019 go up 55%. You know how much population's increased? 2%.
Wow.
Something's wrong, man.
Yeah.
What the hell happened to the money? And I think we know what happened to it. Elon Musk is telling us.
All right. Senator, one last question for you before we get out of here. Sure. So here in the state of Louisiana, I know you pay attention to stuff that goes on back home. Here in the state of Louisiana, trying to get some reforms through, had some constitutional amendments overwhelmingly rejected here in the state. What's kind of your take on the voters' response to these initiatives trying to bring about these reforms like tax reform in Louisiana?
Well, number one, it was a 21% turnout, so you got to be careful drawing conclusions. But number two, I think the voters were very, very uncertain. Mm-hmm. Certain. They didn't know what was in the amendments. And given their innate and well-placed mistrust of government at all levels, they said, when in doubt, we're not going to go for it on fourth and long, we're going to punt. Mm-hmm. And they punted the hell out. And I think it was a product of they just didn't know what they would do, and they don't trust politicians.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand that point of view. As bad as it looks from the outside, you ought to see it from the inside. but I don't think it's a reflection on any person, one person, not governor, not any of the authors of the bill or the proponents or the opponents. It's just people said, look, man, we don't know, so we're saying no.
All right, Senator John Kennedy joining us here on Acadiana's Morning News. Senator, as always, thank you very much for joining us, and look forward to talking to you again.
Let's do it again. Thank you. I miss everybody.
We miss you too,
cold
Senator.
And lonely and crazy up here in Washington. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll be back.